Hello friend, and thank you for tuning in. I just finished today's live stream and I promised a walkthrough of the fish room so I could give you an update on that leaking FX-6, that Fluval FX-6 that was leaking. I'll give you an update on that, and we'll take a look at the albino Cichlids, see how they're doing, and we'll take a look at all the other fish in tanks and see what's going on in here. So let's go ahead and do this week's lap of the fish room, quite possibly the last one for 2023. Let's go. Let's start with this 300-gallon African cichlid tank. This tank is 7 feet across, 300 gallons, about over 2 feet from front to back. I think about 35 inches from front to back. Gives these fish a lot of turnaround room. You see a lot of micro bubbles in here from all of the water agitation that's occurring from the two outputs. Those are two Sugoi 5.0 synchrosilent pumps that are in the sump, pumping water back into the aquarium. This aquarium is backed up by an FX-6. You can see the pre-filter for it in the back of the tank, barely black against black. And we will take a look at that Fluval FX-6. At the end of this video, I'll work my way around to the back of this tank, which is where I have the Fluval FX-6, and you can see how it's doing after its recent maintenance, which resulted from some leaking that occurred after cracking it open to give it a cleaning. So you can see the fish in here are all looking great. Beautiful sand diver. Buccochromis spectabilis, one of the most beautiful Buccochromis in my opinion. Turquoise cichlid developing some beautiful color at the base of the dorsal fin. Just a gorgeous fish. Here's the Buccochromis rhodesii yellow, who's wondering why I said he wasn't the most beautiful Buccochromis. And of course, the Buccochromis noditania is also a gorgeous fish. Here is the trout, arguably the tank boss. Beautiful sand diver. Love that fish. Love them both because of temperament and markings. There's my little runt Venusus, growing very slowly. Not sure why, but usually a Venusus that I've had as long as this one would be almost twice as big, or at least a third larger, so I'm not sure what's going on. But he's a cute and mellow dude, so I don't mind. Look at the face on that hawk, absolutely beautiful. Strigatus, of course, the cousin of the eyebiter, much more mellow than an eyebiter, but you can still see the in the jaw. You can see the eyebiter mouth. Talk about mouths! Look at that mouth and that gar. Looks like an old trumpet player that is used to get between rocks in the wild and eat fry and crustaceans and things that might be in difficult to reach places. They will get on their side like a living stone eye and work their way between rocks. And there's that hawk. The colors on the face of that hawk I think are just beautiful. That bright electric green lower lip, little black mustache, very aristocratic. It's a Kawingi, very underrated fish. Not easy to get. I don't think I've ever seen a Kawingi. Well, I haven't seen really hardly any of these fish except for Venusus in local fish stores, unless they have a dedicated section to African cichlids. These, of course, were gotten from my friend James over at the Cichlid Shack in Arizona, who I understand is back in business. There's the Fusco back there. Fusco is, of course, one of my favorite African cichlids in the Nimbochromis family. Was acting up, being a little aggressive the other day, going after some of the fish, but he calmed right down. It was right after I topped off the tank, and sometimes when you add new water, they start to get a little crazy. Some people say it's because it mimics the rains of Lake Malawi, and that tends to trigger breeding behavior. I do have a fish up here that I think is just getting old and worn out. Not sure how much longer he'll be with me. This is my tangerine tiger. He was spectacular when I got him, but he's showing some age. So not sure how much longer he'll be here, but nobody seems to be picking on him. Let's jump over to the betta tank. He was just inside the betta log a second ago. Now he's cruising around. People were concerned that perhaps this tank was too big for a single betta, but this betta has really thrived in here and has seemed to really enjoy being in this, what I call the betta penthouse. He does spend a lot of time in that log chilling out. He also will wedge himself inside the hornwort. It's mostly hornwort. There's some sprite in there too, but you can see the sprite right here. But he'll wedge himself in those plants and just relax. There he goes. So he goes in the log. There he goes. And of course he took a breath right there. They can't breathe air. There are some baby plecos in here. I am seeing more and more of them, but they are very, very shy and seldom will come out when I'm filming. But if I dim the lights, they like to come out, and there are a few of them in there. I think they hide in the caves. They also go under the sponge filters. Beautiful red lily. Some Anubias. Some Java fern. Over here to the live bear tank, and the live bear tank is doing what the name would imply and providing me with a large number of fry. You can see him in there. I'm not sure if I'll ever have to buy another fish for this tank. A lot of the baby guppies are showing color now, like this one. There's the adult lyre tail. A lot of the adults are gone now. There's one of them. It's mostly all fry in here. The live bears don't seem to live that long, but they do reproduce quite a bit. Except for this lyre tail. The lyre tail has lasted a while. But a lot of these babies are guppies. Some of them are mollies and platies. I am feeding him that North Fin fry starter. And the hornwort has really, of course there's a little bit of sprite in here too, there's some sprite. But it's really served as a great protection to keep these fish off the radar of the bigger fish. And so more of them can survive. I also have some hornwort here. And this is the tank where I have my AC Hecali, along living with one pleco. I did have the SAE, Siamese algae eater, in here, but he was trying to lurk and follow them around, and I didn't want to risk him nipping their fins, so I took him out, put him in the 90 gallon. But you can see these little guys are doing great. This, of course, was a very mature tank. Old sponge filter and old substrate, wood, rocks, a lot of snails. So it's a very healthy tank, and of course with the hornwort, just adds more to the quality of the water when you have something like that that's just consuming large amounts of ammonia, nitrate. You can see they're beautiful. Some of them are showing some beautiful red in the anal fin. This one here that I'm trying to move over, there we go. He's got some beautiful colors already going on. See some spots in the tail, in the back of the dorsal. These are going to be some beautiful fish. I think they're already pretty, and they're nowhere near where they're going to be. There's 5 of them. Let's go over here to the 90 gallon. It's my 90 gallon rimless tank, home of my red spotted Severum. Beautiful fish. Also have some Buenos Aires tetras in here, a standard Hecali. This is your usual Hecali, non-albino variety. There's also a red shoulder Severum in here. See him back there, hanging back along with the geos. 2 geos, they do harass each other. But apart from one little scar above the eye of this geo right here, the hole in the head has disappeared. Here's some electric blue acaras. Catch them from the side here. Beautiful fish. There's 2 acaras in here. They seem to be getting along okay. One was the more dominant when I moved him over. It's hard to tell which one's the dominant one now. This tank is due for a cleaning. Cleaning up the glass. I did put a little hornwort in here, just see how they would do. It's mixed in there with the plastic plant. I think the plants do add quality. Look how fat that Buenos Aires tetra is. That one right there. She might be carrying eggs. Here's the planted aquarium. Everyone's doing great in there. This is where I harvest the hornwort. You can see here just a jungle of it. It provides a little bit of a shade, so the Nubius do well because they like the shade. A bunch of Anubias and Java fern over here on the right, along with Crips, Wisteria. Using some of those planters. There's one of those planters from the Aquarium Co-op. My crazy suckerfish. And of course looking very hungrily, longingly at the smaller fish is the red tear, who would, I'm sure, love to get a hold of a couple of those neons. He spends all day staring at them. Dreaming about going over to that buffet next door. He's redecorating again. I had spread out all the substrate, but he's got already bare bottom right there. And he's creating a bare bottom on this side. Yeah. So he moved all that sand over here to the front. So he is a major redecorator. Doesn't seem to be that interested in the hornwort. But I think if I put planted plants in there, they wouldn't last hardly any time at all. He would just uproot them. I'd probably have to use some of those Aquarium Co-op bases, those planters, that way that he couldn't pull them out. I could spend all day looking at this guy, the patterns, the shapes, the colors. Just a beautiful fish. It's hard to imagine that the females are even more beautiful. Let's go over to the 210-gallon South and Central American tank, see what's going on over there. This is a 6 foot across tank, unlike the 300, which is 7 feet across. This is 6 foot across, so it does provide a lot of swim room for these guys. There's a little Jack Dempsey, little female. Love the patterns and color on Jack Dempsey's. A lot like your green terrors, who happens to be up here right now. Vieja and the Oscar getting into it. They threaten each other a lot like the Firemouth and the Nicaragua threaten each other, but it never turns into anything too violent. The Firemouth loves getting into it with the Nicaragua. Beautiful little female fish here. The chocolate cichlid, 2 chocolates in here. There's the green terror cruising around. I'm going to give him a little bit of bloodworms today. Okay. His favorite treat. Silver dollars back there. Doing fine. There's Sally. Sally the Salvini. Love the look of a firemouth. Oscar's hanging out at the top waiting for food. He knows I'm going to feed him. There's the chocolate back there. Let's go ahead and take a look at that FX-6, see how it's doing. So here's the FX-6, running strong and quiet after I replaced the O-rings and replaced one of the valves. You can see it's dry. It's dry at the base of the valve, at the base of both valves. There's no liquid. And if you look down in here, you'll see also there is no liquid accumulation there. And if there was any liquid accumulation, you would have this. These 2 electrodes would be connected through the liquid, and you'd end up with a very loud screech from this guy, which is that watchdog. I have it pointed towards the house, towards the door of the garage, so that it can alert me if there's any water coming out of it. But as of right now, it is running dry. Now, one bit of advice with older canister filters, if you have to service them, definitely turn off the hoses before you turn off the hoses first, then unplug the unit. Because I did notice that when I unplugged it the first time, I did get a little bit of seepage in a couple areas. Not a lot, just a few drops. you know, a little bit of moisture. But when I close the valves first, right, shut down these valves first, and then unplug it, I get no leakage. So obviously, and now that being said, I also did tighten the motor housing a little bit more, and I made a point of bolting down, you know, really fastening, really tightening these guys. So I think we're in good shape, and hopefully it'll run dry. I'm going to let it run for a year. That's how long I'm going to run this FX-6 before I open it up again. So fingers crossed that my leaking FX-6 adventure is over. Let's do some feeding. I don't feed much. If they don't have it cleaned up in a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, in my mind, I'm overfeeding them. So there's too many folks overfeed their fish, I think. Here with the 90, I've got to use this guy, because I've got a hole here in the top. Drop that in, otherwise the food doesn't get all the way in there. Sometimes they'll knock that piece completely out. Let's go over here to the cichlid tank. It's just a mix of food in here. There's all kinds of stuff. There's Sarah and there's Extreme. Just a variety of things. Looks like a lot. They'll have it cleared up in a matter of seconds. Some fish, like the sand diver, loves just getting it off the bottom. Red Terror loves these freeze-dried brine shrimp cubes. He also loves the tube effects worms. Not sure if he'll come out of the cave though. Let's see. He sees it. He just doesn't know whether he's willing to come out or not. Come on, come get it. I turned all the lights on here in the fish room, so he's being a little leery. There he goes. Nabbed it. Let's give a little food to the South and Central American. Again, it's that cichlid mix of Sarah and Northfin Have to put it in waves, make sure everybody gets some. Otherwise the Oscars will dominate because they eat off the top. The Vieja likes to go off the bottom, be more mid-range. Silver Dollars like to get it mid-range as well, midway up the tank. You can see if it's not consumed in 30 seconds, this is gone probably in 30 seconds, under a minute for sure. And then the foraging starts. I've been feeding the Heckelai a combination of extreme community. I have a little bit here that I got. Just put it up here in this corner hole. You can see they're aggressive eaters. I also give them some of these Sarah veggie flakes. They love their veggies. And as you can see, eating like little pigs. And when a fish is in quarantine, one of the things I look for is their aggressiveness in going after food. If they're not eating, they're not going out of quarantine. All 5 of these are eating very, very well. In my live bear tank, as I might have mentioned earlier, I'm using some of this Northfin Fry Starter. And I do put a little bit of the regular flakes too, because not all the fish in here are fry, but all of them will eat this. I'll also put in some of the green wafers. I got Northfin and Sarah wafers. And so they'll eat some of that too. But this stuff is really fine. It's like a talc. Super fine food. It's like a powder. Perfect for fry. And they just go crazy on it. With the betta, I use betta bits, and I also use the Fluval bug bites. And I even have a betta food from Sarah, Betagran. So I give him a variety of food, and he also gets an occasional bloodworm, some bloodworms every now and then. I also drop green wafers in this aquarium for the plecos. I put the food in the hole at the top of the log. Let's see if he figures it out and goes around and goes into the log to eat. He knows I feed him that way sometimes. Oh, there he goes. Smart dude. He gets just a few grains once a day. Of course, one of the problems again with betta is that people overfeed them. So there you go. The final lap for 2023 is over. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to share your comments, your tips, your ideas below. I do read them when I can. I do have some great projects in store for 2024. Hope to get that 60-gallon acrylic tank going with something in it, possibly the Heckelai. We'll see where that goes. And I'll be working out some fish from the channel sponsor, one of the channel sponsors, Josh Cunningham over at Cunningham Tropicals. Be sure to use that discount ben.o.15 if you want to get some fish from him, or ben.o.10 for 10% off on dry goods, and ben.o.15 for 15% off on fish. All right, so thank you, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful end of the year and holiday season, and I hope 2024 is the best year of your life. Thank you, my friends. Bye-bye.